Rain poured heavily as people rushed through the streets, protecting themselves from the cold. In the corner, sitting quietly under a broken bus stop, was a man named Daniel. His clothes were worn out. His face looked tired. His eyes empty. But Daniel wasn't always like this. A few years ago, he had a stable job, a loving wife, and a small apartment. Life was simple but good. Then everything fell apart. He lost his job, his home, and eventually the people he loved. Now, he was just another homeless man people avoided. Some looked at him with pity, others with judgment, but most didn't look at him at all. And after years of being ignored, Daniel had stopped believing anyone cared. That same evening, as Daniel sat quietly, a little girl walking with her mother suddenly stopped. Her name was Emma. She looked at Daniel not with fear, not with judgment, but with curiosity and kindness. "Mom, why is he sitting there alone?" she asked softly. Her mother hesitated, unsure what to say, but Emma didn't wait. She walked toward Daniel with a small paper bag in her hand. Inside it was her own sandwich, a juice box, and a napkin. She gently handed it to him. Daniel looked confused. "No one gives me things like this," he said quietly. Emma smiled and said, "Everyone deserves to eat." Before leaving, she placed a small folded note on top of the bag. Daniel opened it slowly. It read, "You matter. Don't give up." And just like that, she walked away. But for Daniel, something changed. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. Not because of the cold, but because of those words, "You matter." It had been years since anyone made him feel human again. He kept reading the note again and again. The next morning, something felt different. For the first time in a long time, he stood up with purpose. He walked to a nearby shelter. Asking for help wasn't easy. Pride, fear, and past failures held him back, but Emma's words pushed him forward. Days turned into weeks. He faced rejection. Some doors closed on him, but he didn't stop. Because somewhere deep inside, a small spark of hope had been lit. Daniel started with small steps. He volunteered at the shelter in exchange for food and a place to sleep. Slowly, people began to notice his effort. One day, someone offered him a temporary job cleaning at a small store. It wasn't much, but to Daniel, it was everything. He worked hard. He showed up early. He stayed late. Weeks turned into months. That temporary job became permanent. He saved money, got clean clothes, rented a small room. Life wasn't perfect, but it was finally moving forward. And every single day, he kept that note in his pocket. Whenever things felt difficult, he would read it again. "You matter, don't give up." And he didn't. 1 year later, Daniel stood on the same street where his life once felt completely broken. But this time, everything was different. He wasn't sitting on the ground anymore. He was standing tall. In his hands were small food bags, just like the one Emma had given him. He began handing them out to people in need, smiling, talking, listening, because now he understood what it felt like to be invisible. Then suddenly, he saw her, Emma, walking with her mother again. Daniel's eyes filled with tears as he approached her. You may not remember me, he said gently, but you changed my life. Emma looked confused for a moment, then smiled. You're the man from before. Daniel nodded. He showed her the old, slightly crumpled note he still carried. I kept this with me every day, he said, when I wanted to give up. This kept me going. Emma's mother stood silently, emotional. Emma simply smiled and said, I just wanted to help. Daniel shook his head softly. No. You gave me my life back, sometimes. It's not money, power, or luck that changes a life. Sometimes. It's just one small act of kindness.